What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right. So before I go further in this video, I want to give a shout out to Legendary Tony for his contribution to the channel. Much respect to Legendary. He's a freaking contributor, and he is a fan of this channel. And I want to give a shout out to him and everybody that supports this channel. All right. Whether it's through contributions or whether it's just through you guys' comments, your video suggestions, everything. Um, I also want to give a shout out to everybody that subscribed to me over on the Patreon. All right. So much respect to you guys as well. And I will be uploading over there today. I cannot believe that it's been a year. Okay. It's been a very tragic year in so many ways. Uh, I remember Saturday, January 25th, 2020. That's when LeBron James passed Kobe Bryant in scoring. And at that time, there was a lot of debate as to, you know, who was greater. But what stands out in my mind is that at that time, Kobe Bryant was imploring Lakers Nation to embrace LeBron as a Laker. Remember that? You know, he was telling the Laker family, okay, a guy that had given 20 years of, you know what I'm saying, literally sweat, blood, and tears to the organization. Probably the only guy that's on par with him as far as respect is Magic Johnson. But even Magic didn't play 20 years. Kobe had given 20 years of his life, half his life literally, to the organization. And he was telling them to embrace LeBron James. Then you had, at the time, charlatans and frauds like Nick Wright, still dissing him, still making, you know, statistical comparisons that don't take into account a lot of different things, a lot of different factors, errors, actual shot selection, defenses. Doesn't take anything in the way they play the game, whatever. And then he got caught hating by everybody because of the obvious tragedy that befell upon the sports world the very next day. Okay, I don't need to rehash what happened. It was one of the most horrific things that you can think of, and I remember at that time, that very day, I think I had uploaded a video getting on Nick Wright, dissing Kobe. And at the time, as I'm recording, you know what's so fucked up? As I'm recording the video, I think those were the last moments of his life. Kobe. As I'm recording the video, I think he's still alive. Then I noticed as I upload the video and put it up there, I'm looking at the comments. I'm seeing people saying something that doesn't register to me. Kobe Bryant killed in a helicopter crash. So I'm thinking to myself, well, there's been a rash of hoax. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't even sound right to me. You know, I like it's a hoax. I didn't see anything on news about it. But then I had a friend call me and then tell me. And that's when I knew it was real. And it was one of those moments where life seemed surreal. It didn't seem like this was reality. It wasn't registering what I was seeing. It had to be something similar to that generation that saw on their televisions that Friday in 1963 in November that their youngest president, who just followed the president who was grandfatherly, this guy that exuded youth and athleticism, said vitality, vigor, was dead violently in a blink of an eye. Or that generation before that that found out that they could be touched by an outside force, an outside nation in Japan, that, being a pacifist and practicing isolationism could no longer be an option. We had to be involved. And it forever altered the United States participation and role in global geopolitics. Or my generation, 9/11, when we saw that on our television screens, it looked like a scene out of a Harrison Ford movie. It did not look real. And we didn't think at the time that terrorism could touch us on our shores, but it deeply humbled us. Of course, when Kobe Bryant died, along with his daughter Gia, and of course, 7 other people perished. But of course, you had these individuals who always tried to denigrate Kobe because they have their own issues, whether it was racism, such as the case when the woman from MSNBC referred to the Lakers as the Los Angeles Niggers, and she never got fired, even though there was an online petition with several hundred thousands of signatures to fire, but nothing got done. Because, as I said before, in this country, one of the most protected groups in this country, the most protected entity in this country is white women. Okay? They are very rarely punished for anything in this country. But one of the things you kept seeing is this was karma. This was karma. First of all, are you telling me that a woman whose past was as faulty as hers, the woman that accused Kobe Bryant of that, right? I don't even want to really bring that up. A woman with two or three, four different male DNA in her, and did not show any signs of trauma. And more than likely, it was a consensual matter. Now, he was guilty of adultery, but if that's the case, then you need to condemn millions of Americans and literally billions throughout the world for that, you know. But the thing that really gets me about them is it keeps harping about, and every victim of that crash was important, don't get me wrong. But they kept talking about, don't forget the other 7. Don't forget the other 7. When in reality, what they're saying is, don't forget those white lives. Don't forget those white lives. But did you hear them talk about, don't forget the limo driver when Princess Diana died? Did you hear that? Did you hear them keep harping about that? Did you hear them say, don't forget the other people that were killed when Stevie Ray Vaughan was killed in a helicopter crash in 1990? Did you hear them say, don't forget that pilot Rogers that died the day the music died with Richie Valens and the Big Bopper, and what was the third one? Richie Valens, Big Bopper, and I can't think of the third one right now. But when that happened, you didn't hear them say, "Well, we want the pilot." But I'm gonna tell you one of my biggest regrets, though. My biggest regret about Kobe's career is that I spent too much of it debating others about why he wasn't as great as they said he was. I'm not going to pretend like that didn't happen. You know, like I said before the whole LeBron versus Jordan thing, it was the Kobe versus Mike. And I was on Team Mike, and some people were on Team Kobe. And what went from being a friendly debate actually got to the point where, you know, you started actually disassociating from people because of it. It got that petty. It got that fucking petty. You know what I'm saying? And for a couple of years, I didn't even really appreciate watching the man play. And I really truly regret that. I do. I didn't really start appreciating Kobe until the media hype died down and then the media collectively started sucking the dick of that kid from Akron. Oh, yeah, they did that. The same media that collectively sucks his cock down 10, 12 years ago, that media always dissed him. He was the Kyrie Irving back then. You young little nigglets, if you don't know that. He was like Kyrie Irving back then. They were always shitting on him, saying he can't win. He's a king without a ring, and can he ever win? I don't think he can win. How do you think Skip Bayless came of, came to be who he was? He was the number one guy leading that charge. And at the time, he seemed like he had credibility because LeBron couldn't win. But I started liking Kobe a lot after the media showed who they really were. And I always tried to focus on the media. My enemy has always been the media. And I've always said how they use these guys as they're succubus. They use these guys up, and once their talent is gone or diminished, they go to the next guy. And that's what they do. It's all about, I understand ratings play a part of this thing, but there's so many disingenuous people in the media. It's disgusting. But it's the sheer tragedy of his life, man. Like, this is a guy that had nothing but blinders on throughout his entire career. And from the game, once he retired, by the way, he left out with a scintillating 60-point performance. And that was a team effort, okay? No matter what fat ass Jason Whitlock want to say, that was a team effort, okay? And that was a tribute game to him, fat piece of shit. But once he left, he got involved in other ventures. He got involved in, I think it was making an animation film, which he won an Oscar. He was trying to build an enterprise, and he was focusing on being a better parent, better father. And if you can recall, that season, 2019-20, before it got touched by you know what, which caused a shutdown, he and his daughter, who was becoming a huge basketball fan and very active in basketball herself, Gigi, she was a Trey Young fan. He started attending basketball games for the first time in years. He was becoming interested in basketball again. Um, who knows? Maybe eventually he might have entered the Big Three league. There was little smattering of talks of that before the tragedy, but that tragedy took Kobe Bryant away from us, and his absence is still felt to this day. And I'm gonna tell you something else too. I don't know if anybody uh, has made this connection yet. One of the reasons why I think Shaquille O'Neal said what he said to Donovan Mitchell is because too often in the past, Shaq bit his tongue and didn't say what he really felt to people. And I'm gonna tell you something. Kobe Bryant's passing has had a tremendous impact on Shaquille O'Neal. He's a better analyst. He's a more open person. Don't get me wrong, Shaq pisses me off just like the rest of you sometimes. But he's a better analyst and he's more direct with what he's saying. I know why he said what he said to Donovan Mitchell. That's the Kobe Bryant approach. Ain't no kumbaya, kissy makeup. It's tough love. That's the type of shit that I grew up with. That's the type of shit my generation grew up with. Sometimes you can't always just pat somebody on the back. Sometimes you got to go that route. You got to piss them off sometimes to get people to play at a higher level and to achieve greater. That's the Mamba mentality. Speaking of Shaq, Shaq came into the NBA a great player with superstar potential. And at times he played like a superstar. But this is the difference, what I'm trying to say about the difference between being an all-star and a superstar. Okay? This is what I'm trying to import to you. And I'm gonna end this video like this. This is the influence that Kobe Bryant will have on you. Give me 1 second. Now, in his first playoff series, Shaq, right, against the Pacers in 1994, during that series, Shaq averaged 20.7 points, 13.3 rebounds, 2.3 assists, and 3 blocks. And he shot 51% from the floor. If this was Andre Drummond, those would be great numbers. That's not superstar numbers. Against the Chicago Bulls in 1996, when they got swept again, during that series he averaged 27 points, 10.8 rebounds, 4 assists, 1.5 steals, 1.5 blocks. If you're Chris Webber, those are tremendous numbers. For Shaq, that's pedestrian. Let's look at Shaq in the 2000 finals. After Kobe Bryant is now a starter and has become a force after Phil Jackson joins them. Now, in that series, which Lakers won 4 games to 2, Shaquille O'Neal averaged 38 points, 17 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 2.7 blocks. That's domination. That's what I'm trying to say to people about being a superstar. Okay, you have to play out of your. Sometimes you got to play out of your comfort zone. You got to play at a higher level. Kobe Bryant knew when to turn that on and when to turn that off. Okay, and that's the effect that he had in the league, and that's the respect that he had throughout the NBA. People can argue about who's the GOAT and who's this and that, but at the end of the day, I will tell you this: no matter how much media hype that the kid from Akron gets, I can tell you just from observation, he's still not as respected by the NBA players today as Kobe Bryant was when he stepped away from the game in 2016. He's not. The level of respect that Kobe Bryant had, very few players are at that level. Jordan, maybe Magic. That's about it. So tell me your thoughts, man, on this 1 year anniversary of the passing of Kobe Bryant.